Are we back in 2020? Are we going to see yet another lockdown of wearing of masks, testing, and disruption of our day-to-day life? The question in your mind right now is, should you be worried about the virus that is broken out of China? It has a new name, hMPV. Now, by the end of this video, you will make an informed decision, and we are not going to leave you with speculations. We don't want you to panic, but let us give you a detailed information about what is available and what you need to know for now. First of all, the virus that is broken out in China is the same as what happened a few years ago. The way how it is playing out, it's almost like a deja vu of COVID-19. To bring into perspective, here is what China has said about COVID-19 in 2020. They said it is a pneumonia of unknown cause. That was back in 2020. And now they are saying this one is a pneumonia of unknown origin. Sounding the same, right? To add more to the whole story, the information about the disease, it has got similar traits of COVID-19. And the symptoms are fever, shortness of breath, cough. In different cases, it can develop into pneumonia or bronchitis. Now, the worrying factor is that it has been reported in different parts of China, and now India, and in parts of Malaysia. Another worrying factor is the target group of this virus. So far, the highest number of cases are children, young teenagers, and the old people. Just as it was with COVID-19, old people with chronic conditions are the most vulnerable. What we also know about the virus is that it has been there since 1958. So it's actually 60 years old. And they say it is a seasonal virus which is accustomed to China. That's what they can say for now. Experts also say that it was discovered in 2001. The bad news, in which is worrying, is that it has no cure and no vaccine has been developed on it yet. Another concerning fact is that what WHO is saying. According to WHO, they are saying that China is still hiding crucial information, just as it was in 2020, as they downplayed the effect of the COVID-19 virus. And we saw how it ended up. So there is a reason for people to be worried. But who is saying they shouldn't be? Would you believe them? Now, in the midst of such a health scare, there are a lot of opinions, just as it was in 2020. There were three groups of opinion peddlers which emerged in 2020. Number one, the theorists. These are the ones who were talking about the benefit of big pharma, the capitalists, which is still a big subject up to today. And the people that were fingered are the likes of Bill Gates and other big companies. And the second group was those from the religious groupings. Those who were talking about the mark of the beast and how COVID-19 was going to be used to alternate people's DNA and a chip to be inserted into people's bodies through vaccines. And the other one was the battle of the isms, the name calling and the mudslinging that was between the West and China. As you know, China is a communist state and the rest of the world is the capitalist community. The then president of the US, Donald Trump, called COVID-19 a China virus. And that was part of the reason he lost the 2020 elections, on how he handled the crisis of COVID-19 when it was still containable and couldn't force stringent measures. So in the midst of all this, should Africa be worried about this virus? Two reasons Africa is supposed to be worried. First of all, according to the theorists, during the time of COVID-19, this was a tool or a biological weapon that was there to eradicate or to wipe Africans. And you can't stop Africans from thinking like that, because it seems like it looks like it's a world agenda. Talk of the distribution of the PPEs in Africa, vaccine hoarding, and among other issues. Now, looking at the effect of the virus, Africa is the only continent that has got the youngest population and the most fertile in childbearing, for about 440 million of young men and people who are between the age of 15 to 35. Africa is the highest in fertility with a rate of about 4.6. Asia stands at 2.2, Europe at 2.0, South America at 1.8, North America at 1.75, with the lowest being Australia at 1.50, bearing in mind that the virus is targeting the chunk of the young population. That should concern us. And the second thing is in our ability to make our own vaccines and our inept leadership to protect us when such a virus spreads. As you know, and as you are aware, that during the time of COVID-19, Africa struggled to produce their own vaccines. According to the then African Union chairperson, President Cyril Ramaphosa, bemoaned at the hoarding of vaccines by the first world.
We are concerned about vaccine nationalism. The rich countries of the world went out and acquired large doses of vaccines from the developers and manufacturers of these vaccines. And some countries have even gone beyond and acquired up to 4 times what their population needs. And that was aimed at hoarding these vaccines. And now this is being done to the exclusion of countries, of other countries in the world that most need this.
And South Africa has entered into an agreement with the big pharma, Johnson & Johnson, in order to manufacture vaccines in Gqeberha in South Africa, which was formerly Port Elizabeth. But this one is a different virus. The question is, will they be allowed to manufacture vaccines in Africa if this hMPV comes without restrictions? And will it be enough to make Africa not to worry? This is the biggest question that will be answered with time. In this era of information, the issue is you should be careful where you get your data. Is it from the theorists or from the religious groupings?
Month 27, it will be over.
Or is another Cold War or a biological war between the superpowers that be? But remember, information is power. If you have survived COVID-19, you've got some lessons from there. And these lessons might be all that you need for you to survive another yet pandemic that is looming.